Far below the ocean's surface was the kingdom of Thalora. It wasn't just a place of beauty. It was a kingdom with rules, guards, and danger beyond its borders. King Alaric led the people with strength. Queen Maerina was kind and loyal. But behind the royal walls, they both lived with a secret pain. For 8 years, they had ruled without a child.
The northern reef is safe, Your Majesty, but border tensions are growing.
They always grow when they sense weakness.
What weakness?
An empty cradle.
Maerina entered the nursery. Everything had been ready for years. Blankets, coral mobiles, and carved toys. But the cradle sat untouched. She stood there, staring at it in silence.
It should have held someone by now.
The people still love you, my queen.
They love the hope of an heir, but hope fades.
The High Council met in private. Though respectful, their words carried pressure. Their eyes were firm. Their tone was clear. The kingdom had waited long enough.
We ask this with respect. What will happen if there is no heir?
Then I will keep ruling.
And after you?
I have not died yet.
But the cradle stays empty. We cannot ignore that forever.
The people had waited years, but now they began to speak more freely. Rumors spread. There was still no heir.
She's been queen for nearly a decade, still no child.
Maybe she can't have one. Maybe the king chose wrong.
Or maybe the sea is angry with them.
The queen returned to the temple garden again. She often came here when she needed quiet, but today, the silence made her feel worse. The stares, the waiting, the failure.
Have the gods forgotten me?
The sea never forgets, but it does wait.
I have waited long enough.
Alaric had returned from the council late. He didn't need to say what they'd asked. Maerina already knew. The room felt colder than usual. The cradle stood in the back like it always had, quiet and empty.
They want me to choose someone else, a second wife.
Did you say no?
I did not answer. I didn't know how.
So they're giving up on me.
No, they are giving up on time.
The elders of Thalora no longer spoke in whispers. They met the king directly and gave him their demand. It was not a request. It was an order shaped as advice. The kingdom needed an heir. Time had run out.
You must take another wife, Your Majesty.
My heart belongs to Maerina.
This is not about love. It is about the crown. You cannot give Thalora a future without an heir.
And what becomes of my queen?
She will remain honored, but she cannot carry what the sea has denied.
Alaric hated every step that led him to her. He had ruled without fear. He had fought border wars. But nothing had prepared him for this, for the choice his council forced into his hands.
They gave me an ultimatum.
I know.
They want me to remarry a younger noblewoman, someone they can mold.
Will you do it?
I gave them no answer, because my answer is still you.
Maerina needed space. The palace had become a box full of whispers. She didn't want pity. She didn't want promises. She wanted to know if her life still had meaning without a child.
Forgive me, my queen. The elders sent word. They will present suitors to His Majesty within the week.
Then they have already moved on. Tell them I have not.
The sea had waited long, but the cradle remained empty. Now the kingdom could wait no more. For the first time, they spoke the unspeakable, not of war, but of succession without Maerina.
We honor all Queen Maerina has given, but to preserve the line, a second queen must be named. The sea must not lose its future.
You ask me to wound the one who stood beside me the longest.
We ask you to protect the realm, not for yourself, but for all of Thalora.
Maerina sat in silence. She had no tears left to spill. Not here. If this was what the kingdom needed, she would not beg to be needed more. No titles had been taken from her, no crown removed, but something deeper had been set aside, hope. She had prayed for years. Now the prayer had an answer she didn't choose.
Let it be someone kind. Let it not be for ambition. If I must watch another stand in my place, let her not shame the throne I carried.
It was not surrender, it was sacrifice, and it carved deeper than any blade. They came like waves, each with promises, each with charm, but none held the calm the sea required. Until one stepped forward without flourish or fear.
I do not seek to replace, I seek to serve. If I am chosen, I will carry her honor beside my own.
She came from the Pearl Coast, raised in tide temples, trained in duty. Alaric saw no ambition, only peace. That, above all, swayed him. This was not betrayal, it was necessity, but even necessity has a cost.
I chose her. Her name is Serenia. I waited as long as I could.
You waited long enough to try. That is more than most would give.
Tell me I haven't failed you.
You haven't, but you have left me behind.
Her voice didn't break, but something inside her did. She didn't show it. She only turned back to the stars. Thalora gained a new queen, not through joy, but through duty, and duty never asked for applause.
Rise, Queen Serenia. May the sea know your name.
Maerina watched from a distance, unseen. Her place was no longer beside him, but behind the veil of memory. Hope returned to Thalora quietly. No trumpets, no announcements. Only the soft words of a healer and the trembling breath of a father-to-be. After years of waiting, a child had finally taken root in the royal bloodline through the second queen.
It is certain, Your Majesties, the child grows strong.
A child?
Yes, I wasn't sure until today.
You've given this kingdom something it had begun to mourn.
Then I will see it through, for Thalora and for her.
Maerina's prayers had not gone unanswered, but the story of Thalora was never one of easy gifts. Where there was hope, danger always followed, and somewhere, in the deep, fate had already begun to turn. Serenia had not yet given birth, but she already acted like the crown was hers. Maerina never challenged her. Serenia didn't need permission to speak loudly.
I do hope the kitchen leaves out the kelp tonight. I've heard it's terrible for women who don't conceive easily.
I eat what I'm given.
The servants continued moving. The meal ended without further comment. Serenia spoke louder when Maerina was nearby. Each word was chosen to remind the palace who now carried the heir.
Your Highness, you look well. The child must be strong.
Let's hope I give birth to something more royal than a guppy. Isn't that right, Maerina?
You speak with ease for someone not yet tested by labor.
Maerina continued walking. Serenia returned to her conversation. The court had moved on. Maerina had not. Her presence was still required, but her role was no longer spoken of.
You carry the future, but I carried this kingdom when it had none.
She returned to reading and gave no further reaction. Serenia stood before the priests for the blessing of her unborn child. Maerina watched from a distance, silent.
May the child within be the tide that unites this realm.
Let us hope he's not cursed with silence like others I know.
The blessing ended. The court moved on with their duties. Maerina could no longer remain silent. She left the palace without permission, without escort, and without trust. If the king wouldn't see what was wrong, she would find answers elsewhere.
If I'm wrong, I'll return. But if I'm right, someone must speak.
Maerina came seeking answers. Answers no priest or council member could give. She needed to know what the future held for her, and for the throne.
I smelled hesitation before I heard footsteps. What does a queen come here to ask?
Will I ever give birth to an heir? Or will the child that Queen Serenia carries become the future of Thalora?
You ask for answers the sea already knows. Sit, and I will show you what has already begun.
Maerina had come for clarity. Instead, she saw deception, a man she didn't recognize, a conversation in secret, and Serenia, calm and smiling.
That is the child's true father.
That's not King Alaric.
No. The one she meets is from beyond our borders. Not of Thalora. She has fooled them all.
How long has this been happening?
Long enough for lies to take root.
She had the truth, but the truth needed proof, and proof needed action.
Watch her closely. Every hour, every corner. I want names. I want the one she meets.
Yes, Your Grace.
Maerina had remained quiet long enough. Now she would move. Maerina's orders had been clear. The spy followed without being seen. Serenia moved like she'd done this before, quiet, confident, and without a single glance back. The spy kept low. The man did not wear the robes of a noble or a soldier. He was not from Thalora.
You are late.
I couldn't pass until your watchers moved. They're getting closer.
No one knows. We have to be careful now.
There were no greetings, no hesitation. This wasn't their first meeting. The connection was real and dangerous.
Is the king still fooled?
He has no reason to question me.
And the child?
He'll be born as Alaric's heir, but we both know whose blood runs in him.
Now there was no doubt. The child was not of royal blood. The lie had reached the throne.
Tell no one else. I speak to the king in the morning.
Maerina came with only words, but they were clear, detailed, and sharpened by certainty.
I need to speak. It's about Queen Serenia. She's been meeting with someone in secret.
You come here with gossip?
One of my spies followed her. He saw her meet the same man multiple times, at night, away from patrols.
You accuse her with no name, no proof?
He's Virelon. The spy overheard them speak. She called him the real father.
The king tried to break the story apart, but every detail Maerina gave only made it stronger.
Tell me what was said.
She told him not to worry, that the court believed it was your child. She promised the truth would never come out.
And my guards never saw this?
She used side exits, lower reef paths, places rarely watched.
Why would she do this?
You'll have to ask her yourself.
Denial no longer held. If the child wasn't his, the line of succession itself was a lie.
Bring her to me now.
She won't resist. She's ready.
She didn't speak in protest. Her time for denial had passed.
Tell the king I will answer to him.
He gave her one chance to deny it. She didn't take it right away. She stalled, tried to redirect, but the truth pressed in.
Is it true? Is the child you carry not mine?
Who told you that? Maerina, right? She has always hated me.
Answer the question.
You want to believe I betrayed you, but I never wanted to hurt you.
Is the child mine?
No, he is not.
Who is the father?
Of Virelon. He is not of Thalora.
You've shamed the crown, and you've lied to your people.
I did what I had to. I wanted a child.
He had ruled for years with dignity, but that night he spoke not as a king, but as a man who had lost control of his future.
I never told anyone, not even the council.
Told them what?
I was cursed long before I met either of you.
What curse? What do you mean?
As a child, an ocean elder touched my heart. She said I would rule, but never father a child. And so far, it's been true.
The truth had been hidden too long. Maerina understood now why the cradle had stayed empty.
And you thought if Serenia bore a child, the curse had lifted.
I wanted to believe it had. I wanted to believe I could change it.
And now what is the outcome?
Now I see what I should have admitted years ago.
One truth had been revealed, but another had stayed buried for too long. The king's bloodline was broken before it ever began.
Perhaps I was never meant to leave anything behind.
The whispers had reached the gates, but today they'd be spoken aloud in the king's voice.
Queen Serenia has broken her vows. The child she carries is not of royal blood. It is not mine.
Your Majesty, do you have proof of this?
She confessed. A Virelon spy is the true father. Our witness heard every word.
This is treason.
She will be stripped of her crown, the child removed from the line of succession. This is my final word.
Her crown was gone, but her pride remained, twisted and defiant.
I gave this kingdom what she never could, a child.
Not a royal child, not a royal future.
For the first time, she walked the palace not as queen, but as a traitor. The sea that had welcomed her with jewels now swallowed her in silence.
Beyond the reef. She is never to return.
She had gambled everything for a crown she couldn't keep.
The law is preserved, but trust, that takes longer.
This throne will not fall to deceit, not again.
The kingdom forgave its king, but scars like this do not fade, they only deepen. The sea had gone quiet, so had the palace, and so had she.
Even in silence, I wait, I remain.
She had given everything, and asked for just one gift in return.
If the gods hear anything, let it be this. I am not asking for a crown, just a child, even one.
She expected more disappointment, but this time, something changed.
Wait, there's movement. Life. You are my queen. You're pregnant.
No, that cannot be. You must be mistaken.
I swear it on the reef, Your Majesty. A child grows inside you.
It wasn't just news, it was a miracle.
I went to the healer. I didn't expect anything. But she said, I'm with child.
What? Maerina, say it again.
I am pregnant, Alaric. I don't know how or why now, but I am.
The curse had ruled their lives, but in that moment it didn't matter. All that mattered was hope. Pain met thunder, but Maerina did not cry out in fear, only strength.
One more push, just one more. Twins, a boy, a girl, they live.
The curse that once clung to the throne dissolved in their first breath.
You brought them here. You carried our future.
We both did. After everything, they chose us.
Not all miracles come with trumpets or thunder. Some arrive with tiny hands and the power to rewrite fate. The kingdom prepared for the official celebration of the royal twins. For the first time in years, there were no disputes, no whispers of failure, only unity.
These children are a gift. The heir and heiress of Thalora now live.
Everyone applauded. The throne was secure. Every corridor was quiet, watched, and protected. The twins never left her sight. She had passed the guards without raising suspicion, and no one recognized her. While the celebration continued, Serenia entered the palace in disguise and moved toward the nursery. Serenia entered the room alone. She opened a vial of poison and poured it into both bottles.
Turn around.
They replaced me. They erased me.
And you came to kill the ones who did not wrong you.
The guards restrained Serenia. The bottles were taken for testing. Her plan was exposed. She had returned to destroy what she once wanted to rule. But she failed, and the kingdom would judge her.
Queen Serenia, you are charged with attempted regicide and treason against the throne of Thalora.
We banished you once. This time, there will be no return.
The council delivered their judgment. She was sentenced to life imprisonment in the deep-sea trench under royal guard. She was no longer anyone's queen. Her title, freedom, and name were stripped from the kingdom's records. Security was tightened, but peace had returned, and the royal line had survived its greatest threat.
This time, we protect not just the crown, but each other.
They will grow up without lies, without fear.
The kingdom of Thalora moved forward, no longer cursed, no longer divided. It was finally whole.
Thanks for watching, Diary Gang. That wasn't just a story, that was a memory. Tap subscribe to join the Diary Gang and keep riding with stories that hit different. Cheers!